Hey guys, welcome to a review of sessions 8 and 9. Unfortunately, as some of you know, I wasn't able to stream those sessions because of, first of all, my PC died, and then later on I couldn't get my Twitch account back, and that actually took quite some time until I finally got it back. And hopefully I'll be able to stream this week, which will be the last session of this game. So, let's waste no time. I believe it was end of the session 7 when UK got dismantled. Pretty sure. If I'm actually wrong about that. Anyway, I'm gonna talk about it briefly. So what happened was that alliance of France, Italy, USA, and I believe Japan was on our side. Maybe he wasn't actually in the war, but he was on the side, managed to bring down the Great German Empire Alliance, coalition, gay thing, whatever you want to call it. So what happened was we attacked Spain and then basically occupied all of it. Their allies weren't able to reinforce them and were forced to peace out, which got UK completely dismantled and basically destroyed. After that, USA got some casus bellis in UK, and that just broke the truces and continued attacking them, bashing basically UK and forcing them to release Ireland, Scotland, I believe parts of India. Also, all of the British fleet got destroyed completely. I believe we also killed half of the Ottoman fleet and German armies. They were still in the war against Russia, and I believe they still took a few more territories from Soviet Union. While this was going on. So at that point I realized, well, USA is getting very, very powerful at the moment, and at that time I believe they could have taken on basically everyone else. So what they planned to do was to attack Germany and Austria to release Russian lands, which I don't disagree with, but I had a choice of helping them or joining Germany. Now, the thing is, once German alliance or coalition got dismantled, every minor side of their alliance switched sides to basically USA and France. So Spain got on their side. I believe Netherlands is still neutral. Scandinavia, I'm not sure what they are doing here. I believe they're also, they switched side. Persia switched side. Japan is kinda on the fence, even though you'll see them join the war, but I'll talk about it later on. So I was thinking for quite some time if I should join the war for Russian liberation. Obviously at that point it seemed like USA and France should have no troubles dealing with Germany and Austria. Now the thing is, I don't want to... There is no one benefiting from this war aside from maybe Russia, in a way that they will get their territories, but those territories will come at a great cost for them. This doesn't mean that it won't be worth it for them. Eventually it will be. But the only one that is gaining stuff from this war is USA, because of gaining insane amount of immigrants and also just continuously bashing European countries, which is really not a best scenario for me. So also, meanwhile, I believe UK signed an alliance or non-aggression pact with USA, granting them Scotland back, and I believe free way to reclaiming Ireland, which they finally did at some point. So I decided to go on my own, and I can't say I regret the decision. I just think I kind of misplayed it at some point. So once France declared war on Germany, there is also a thing that reclaiming all of the Russian stuff that Germany now possesses costs 100%. So they are not allowed to add any war goals in that war. So I decided, well, since they're going into that huge war, Spain, USA already joined France, well, I might as well join my own separate war against Austria. And if they are reasonable, they will just concede that war, because they can't fight on two fronts, and I believe that Germany wouldn't help them if they betrayed them fighting France and USA. So, meanwhile, I actually wasn't pushing for a lot. I was asking for South Tyrol and Istria, and I thought it would be reasonable from their side to just give it up and peace out. Now, obviously, they wanted me to join their side, but as I said, I promised them not to join the other side, and I also said that I won't be joining the war, any war against France, because France helped me in the early game quite a bit. Actually, directly influenced the Italian formation. So I owe some things to France, so I can't really go into war with them. So meanwhile, I was trying to rebuild my fleet, and USA and Ottoman fleet engaged in Dardanelles, and most of their fleets were either damaged or Ottoman fleet almost completely destroyed. Now, what was happening in the war was that USA brought a lot of troops to Europe and Africa, and combined with Persian troops, just swiped away through Ottoman Africa and started invading their mainland here. And basically all of the Ottoman Empire was occupied aside from Istanbul and European part, which is actually probably the most populated part, but there are not too many Turks there, so it's a very soft spot for Ottoman Empire, because there can be a lot of revolutions there, and especially within Serbia, because southern Serbia is crazy. It has over 1 million population, I believe, or close to it. It had a population boom, so that stuff is very rough time for Ottoman Empire. So we were actually, I don't think I have the picture at the moment. I would show you either. Anyway, well, I mean, once the game is done, I will show you the scores, final results of the game. But we had a preliminary scores, and they indicated that there are two superpowers, like two players getting over 1,000 points. Those were Germany and USA. If you don't know, if you're not familiar with this, we have a special ranking system for these games. So German and American player get roughly 1,000 points each. I believe USA is slightly more than Germany. And after them, I think France gets like 200. I get also some 200 points, and everyone else is in negative points. So that means there are 4 countries that are doing like as expected or slightly better than expected, and everyone else is doing worse than expected. So it's really not a great stats for me, and I really want to finish this season as first on the ladder. I think I finished 3rd last time, or no, I think I finished 4th. Yeah, Gurren was 3rd. He always finishes 3rd. So I can't let Gurren and USA just grow insanely. And what I did was schemed with Japan and UK. Now, UK had a treaty, so if they actually decided to join me against USA, they would have to pay some prestige, and I think they would lose Scotland or something like that. So it's not a very beneficial deal for them, but if we could kill USA completely, cut them down to size-wise, then it would be well worth it. So what happened was, I was actually hoping that, I might engage American fleet here, because they had parts of their fleet here, and parts of their fleet blockading Germany, and my full fleet at that time was stronger than USA fleet here. So I could, first of all, influence the other war, and also destroy parts of their fleet which would significantly lower their score, also getting some prestige from colonies, which I declared war for. So I declared war for Niger Delta, occupy that stuff, and I was counting on the Gurren to be reasonable and to understand that I could actually cause a lot of trouble for them and make them probably either lose the war against Germany or make it far more difficult for them to win. So I was hoping that he might just, surrender for African colonies if I decided to. not push for some more important war goals. And unfortunately, first of all, he didn't want to peace out, and then after some time, after realizing that I will be quite annoying, he offered me a deal to give me all of the American Africa, and in exchange for me joining on their side against Germany. Now, my truce was soon to run out with Germany and Austria, and I was thinking about it, but I did promise to Germany and Austria not to join the other side, so I kind of want to keep that promise, and I don't want to break it because it would completely make this war imbalanced, even though USA and France had a huge advantage there. So I decided to fight on, and besides, the only good part of Africa that I want from USA is Niger Delta, which is my original war goal. So if I win the war, I will be getting that anyway. The other part that I wanted from USA was the Dahomey. Getting the Dahomey is extremely important for me, and Gurren, either he realized very well why I wanted, or he didn't realize at all, but he didn't want to give me the Dahomey. So the reason for getting the Dahomey is, if you look at it like this, there are only 2 provinces where I can hide soldiers in Africa and that no one can see them aside from my allies, and those are Ife and Ho. Every other province here is connected in some way to territories that are not controlled by me. So if I was to place army here or here, someone would be able to see them, but if I place them here, no one can see them aside from me and my allies. So that's a very important strategical reason for getting those territories. Now, at the beginning of that war against USA, no one but USA was against me in that war. And since I realized, well, Gurren is not going to peace out for those war goals, and that I viewed reasonable, well, I decided to send my armies and fight here in Ukraine, where they were trying to make a huge push. Soviet Union, I believe, wasn't in the war against Germany and Austria at that point. They joined a bit later on. So, as soon as I joined the war, unfortunately, my transporting fleet got straight into USA's main fleet and just got destroyed. Those are like 100 transporters that just got destroyed completely, and that hugely influenced the war because I had troops stationed in Colombia, which is my sphereling, by the way, and like I had 200k or something like that. Those were fully full. What's it called? Oh my god! Like the best fighting troops that I had there, because those troops had tanks, those troops had airplanes, everything, artillery, perfect stacks, and if they were to engage into fighting with USA right away, before USA mobilized, I would probably be able to occupy a lot of USA and probably force him to peace out. Now, unfortunately, due to losing my transporting fleet, I wasn't able to apply my main plan, and so I had to go with a plan B and try to find them in Europe and force them to realize that they shouldn't be fighting me. They should just peace out with me. And before that, German alliance was completely collapsing. Like, they were losing everywhere. The Ottoman Empire was almost completely occupied. They were also getting pushed from Ukraine, and their alliance against Soviet Union didn't really look well. So, as soon as I started reinforcing them against USA here, we changed the tide of those battles and completely pushed USA away, destroying few of their stacks, which influenced the war quite significantly. Also, I managed to, like USA, I believe Gurren was trying to get my fleet and get it sunk, trying to catch it over there. I was sailing over here, then I got here around Egypt, and I believe he spotted me because he was allied with UK at that point. So he tried to go here, and then I moved all the way back from there and got to Dardanelles and destroyed French Navy and smaller American fleet that was guarding Istanbul. At that point, Austrian troops that were already piled over here, trying to prevent USA's invasion into Istanbul and European part of Ottoman Empire, they were able to unoccupy most of the Ottoman land and are now pushing into, well, basically Persia. So that actually died a lot, because now USA will have much harder time reinforcing the Russian front. Now there are a few things that I need to mention here. As soon as France and Spain joined the war against me, I didn't really think they would join, and finally when they did, I tried pushing here, even into mountains. It doesn't really matter because they didn't have any artillery there, and they still have very few artillery regiments there, because Germany is always keeping some troops here and pressuring the French front, so they have to keep those armies there. There is not much anyone can do in Europe at the moment. Germany, I believe, is winning the war if it's prolonged for a long time and USA doesn't agree to peace out. Now, unfortunately, USA is willing to let the war against Germany be lost if they can win the war against me, which is quite unreasonable from my point of view, but very good thing for USA, because everyone else would be losing score instead of except for them. So I'm not exactly sure what's gonna happen in the next session, but it'll be very bloody, or it'll be just a huge mess with diplomacy. I don't know what's gonna happen exactly. I still believe USA will be smart enough to just peace out with me and finish out Germany and get Russian territories back. At which point I'll believe I'll just be focusing on industry and growing probably my heavy fleet, getting some dreadnoughts instead of cruisers, replacing them. Because my fleet at the moment is quite damaged. I engaged into USA's Navy here a few times. Japan joining my side, by the way, providing some help with their fleet. But unfortunately, we weren't able to destroy their fleet. We did destroy a few ships, but not enough. We lost more, and mostly due to Japan and Austria having their admirals controlling the fleet, which influenced the attack. And instead of my admiral just taking over, which happened later on, but it was too late at that point.